Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Sophia, and today we'll be talking about Ashlesha Nakshatra. This nakshatra is most connected with kundalini energy, so this is going to be an interesting one. Located between 16 degrees 40 minutes and 30 degrees and 0 minutes of Cancer, this is a very profound nakshatra. Every zodiac, no matter how benevolent at first, has a shadow. Ashlesha means the hypnotic embrace. Now, this nakshatra is located at Hydra's head. The symbol is the serpent, and the deities are the Nagas, who are a cult group in India often known to be working with tantric spiritual practices of controversial natures. Hydra is called the twiner, the clinging star, the coil, the strands of DNA, and the kundalini life force. That is a lot of names. As this origin carries the most primal forces representing the sacral chakra of the world, one of them located at Lake Titicaca in Peru. This star system is also deeply connected to the direct soul genetic lineages of Mary Magdalene, the pagan families around the world, and underground Isis temples all over France. So let's understand Ashlesha's extreme energies and characteristics. Natives from this constellation often deal with energies of extremes, because the snake is the highest expression of Kundalini Shakti, and this power is as explosive as the atomic bomb. So anything that is ever spoken of in extremes brings in negative connotations too. This nakshatra is ruled by Mercury, so Ashlesha deals with the practical aspects of life because Mercury demands it. Let's understand the personality traits and capabilities of this constellation. Natives, interestingly enough, can be shapeshifters, ever-changing into versions that can charm and hypnotize you. They can have intense, piercing eyes with the ability to capture hidden aspects of your soul. They do not like being criticized, else they lash out in unexpected ways. But their business acumen is exemplary. Combined with a high sex drive and magnetism, they often succeed in whatever they put their minds to. Difficulty arises when they're hurt. Have you ever wondered that even though Mercury is debilitated in Pisces, which is a water sign, it governs all water-related nakshatras like Ashlesha, which is in Cancer, Jyeshta, which is in Scorpio, and Revati, which is in Pisces. That is quite curious. Also, in the Kal Purush Kundli, which is the original zodiac starting from Aries ending in Pisces, the third house is ruled by Mercury. This is the birth of everything that dies in the 8th house of Scorpio. Why? Because the third house is 8th, from the 8th in the zodiac wheel. And so a cycle of death and birth ensures within Ashlesha. When you are between a rock and a hard place, Mercury is the only planet with the ability to connect you with the higher mind of God. And do not mistake God for anyone that is benevolent. The reason is this nakshatra teaches you lessons that you cannot escape from. Natives can be great writers, black magic practitioners, and astrologers. Channeling their pain into healing modalities can control their emotional bodies, because there is no doubt that they will be hurt, and quite a lot. The success of these individuals, however, comes from only sharing their knowledge sparingly, because the Nagas are sneaky beings. Did you know that most snakes are not poisonous? However, people die from the shock of their bite anyway. The impression of pain can kill you. They understand that one can accomplish their goals without spilling unnecessary poison. This is kundalini energy at its deadliest. Let's understand the spiritual essence and motivations of this constellation. Nagas are well known to be the deities of the underworld. They rule the lower planes and live in pitch blackness. Their purpose is dharma. They are motivated by kundalini energy, which is like a coiled serpent-like power that is dormant at the base of the spine, and that is available to every human alive on planet Earth. Just like Devi Shakti herself, they want control over all material elements on Earth. With a sharp intellect and inherent inner wisdom, the natives are competent, charming, and full of vitality. The house placement of this constellation will determine the quality of transformation an individual will endure in this lifetime. Ashleshans can actually hypnotize, perhaps not literally in everyday life, but the snake is a deeply sensual being, and if it wants, it can hug you into a death grip. In that process, they might shed their skins and start again. Interestingly also, Mercury rules the skin, but negativity projected outwards comes first from the inside. So poor mental health can lead to difficult manifestations of their physical health also. Let's understand some of the professional and ethical challenges of this constellation. They make for great healers, counselors, doctors, gurus, and mystics. But if not careful, anything good can be made bad. Shortcuts and unethical practices often come easily to them. Their mercurial nature makes them opportunistic, so they can be deceptive. Illicit affairs, power plays, and compromising situations dominate the stories of this nakshatra. But it's not always what you might think. Snakes only lash out under threat. The loss of control of their own lives makes them vulnerable, and so they armor themselves with a cold and detached attitude. Their previous lives were about selfless giving. In this lifetime, they're careful of people's intentions. This makes them vulnerable, and they are often in need of emotional support themselves. This brings me to the discussion of their relationship dynamics. Attraction and discarding of people can also come easily to them, because the moon in Ashlesha is rather powerful. Combine that power of ever-changing moods with kundalini Shakti, and what do you assume would happen? These natives are known as the heartbreakers of the zodiac. But if the tables were turned, they can be possessive and vicious. Vindictiveness follows suit quickly, and so these natives have secretive inner lives that are really hard to uncover. They can face inner dilemmas and have self-destructive tendencies. Addictions, anxiety, and depression emerge as a result. But here is the twist. This being a dharmic nakshatra, their intentions, however, are truly good. Although, have you heard the saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions? Individuals can induce fear in people without even trying. Mercurial nakshatras are by design required for you to look inward. If individuals recognize their power of intention and use them for good, somehow their self-destructive tendencies dissipate and all starts to fall in place. Just like the coiled snake, life seems to coil in circles around them. Repeating patterns emerge till they can start to let go of their death grips. By learning to thrive in repeating challenges, this lifetime is for them to become the breaker of chains. Let's now understand the secrets of Hydra. Serpents are present in every creation mythology across the globe. The main star of Hydra is Alphard, and it is a profound place of spiritual evolution. On Earth, there seems to be a consistent serpent race genealogy that is the basis of all myths. In the Old Testament, in the Bible, the Garden of Eden and the serpent is one of notice. The Tree of Life, which is a living Katara grid, is holographically fluid in the molecular genetic DNA encoding of the human body and planet, and has a serpent sliding up to it. The Sumerian creation story of Tiamat, the primordial goddess of the sea, and her offspring were the snake and dragon. Enki later kills An, who creates heaven and earth. African and Australian creation tales also revolve around the rainbow snake and how this earth was the playground for all life forms. At a sacred, mysterious megalithic site called Serpent Temple at Santiago de Oje in Bolivia, 8 snakeheads all point south. One of the main snakeheads is burnt in half, where the native lore says that the snake is the place where sacred fire perpetually burns. This would leave profound Akashic clues to lifetimes and existence as Inca, Mayan, Aztec, and Hindu. Indian cultures, of course, have many stories depicting the snake as Gaia's life force energy, causing volcanoes and earthquakes. Lord Shiva has a cobra around his neck. This sounds like a lot, but grand creation origins aside, here on Earth, did you know that the Hydran individual is often confused by their emotions? So let's understand the emotional complexity of this nakshatra. Moon and Mercury combinations lead to a grinding mix of energies for them. At times, the creator's love is confusing too, just like postpartum depression, when the bond between mother and child is challenging. All she wants to do is get away from her baby. But we all know that this is a play of chemicals in the brain, because no mother actually wants this. And so, Hydrans are misunderstood creatures. Sex being such a big part of creation and kundalini on the earth plane is considered taboo even still. Movies can show decapitations and bludgeonings all they want, but sex is still discussed in hushed tones in writers' rooms. So the natives hide their basest instincts lest they be judged. That's why, just like a snake is drawn out of its wicker basket, Hadrian's want is to draw people to them. Often their success on earth is guaranteed. Krishna himself was drawn. No, he was actually puppeted by his gopis. That is the power of this constellation. So I hope you found this podcast interesting on Ashlesha Nakshatra. I will return for another one. See you soon. Bye for now.